Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. Today, the 21st of January 2022, it was announced that Meat Loaf had died yesterday. So this week's video will be my top 15 Meat Loaf songs. And I did something very similar about 9 months ago when Jim Steinman died. That video was all about songs that Jim Steinman wrote and featured a fair bit of Meat Loaf. This is all about Meat Loaf performances and vocals, and as a result, the order of some of the Jim Steinman songs that will be in this list may not be the same as it appeared in the Jim Steinman list. Before I dive in, I will just remind you to like the video, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to receive notifications. So diving in at number 15, and I have picked Blind Before I Stop from the album of the same name from 1985. Not a good album, but the title track, I think, is the one shining light in the entire album and is a really good Meat Loaf vocal. My number 15. And number 14, I have placed In the Land of the Pig, The Butcher is King from Bat Out of Hell 3, The Monster is Loose. Again, an album I don't care for. For instance, one of my favourite Jim Steinman songs is It's All Coming Back to Me Now. And on the Jim Steinman video, I stated that I really dislike Meat Loaf's version. I had another listen to it today and that was utterly confirmed. This is probably his last great vocal performance for me, and it is the most recent thing in this list. In the Land of the Pig, The Butcher is King. My number 14. And number 13, I have picked a successful single from the album Welcome to the Neighborhood, and it's Not a Dry Eye in the House. I think this is the superior song on the album to the other great hit single, which was I'd Lie For You and That's the Truth. But Not a Dry Eye in the House, I think it's a great single. I think it's, again, a really fine Meat Loaf performance. Number 12, I've placed Hot Patootie. Now, if you know anything about Meat Loaf's career, you'll know that before he became stratospherically famous, thanks to Bat Out of Hell, he was cast in the stage performance of Rocky Horror Show as Eddie and Dr. Everett Von Scott. This then translated into him playing the role of Eddie in the Rocky Horror Picture Show movie. And Hot Patootie is his big song number from that film, and it has to be the film version. It's so well sung, a classic rock and roll style song, and it's a great performance. It's my number 12. And number 11, staying with the hot theme, is Hot Summer Night from Bat Out of Hell. The first entry on this list from that absolutely seminal rock album. And again, great Meat Loaf pop vocal. The spoken word section on this really works for me. It's one of my favourite parts of the song and comes in at number 11. And number 10 is my second pick from Bat Out of Hell, and this time it's 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Now, on the Jim Steinman video, I placed this a little bit lower down, and that's mainly because as a song, I think I've become a bit bored of it, but I can't deny the power in the vocal that Meat Loaf delivers for this absolutely cracking song. Number 10. And number 9 is the title track of his third album, Midnight at the Lost and Found. I think this is an absolutely cracking song. I think it's a cracking vocal, and it's definitely the best thing on that lackluster 1983 album. At number 8, I have placed from the Dead Ringer album, Read 'Em and Weep, which I think is one of his best ballad vocals. And sticking with the theme of ballads, at number 7 is Heaven Can Wait. Now, I didn't include this in my Jim Steinman list. In fact, I did include Read 'Em and Weep, but I've placed Heaven Can Wait higher on this list. And that's mainly because the soaring vocal on this is what makes the song. I don't think the song is particularly great, but I do think Meat Loaf's singing is. And so that's why it comes a bit higher at number 7. And number 6 is his big hit single, number 1 around the world, I'd Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. This comes from Bad Outta Hell 2 and is the only thing on this list from that album. For me, the majority of Meat Loaf's greatest performances come before the mid-80s. And this is perhaps a casualty of the change in his voice that was taking place around about the age of 40, as it does for us all. But I'd Do Anything for Love is great. A really, really good song, a great duet. Meat Loaf's parts of it are absolutely spot on. And at number 5, I'm sticking with something that is most definitely a duet, because half the performance of the song isn't him, it's Paradise by the Dashboard Light. This was my number 1 Jim Steinman song because I do think it's the best thing he wrote. Half of the song is sung by someone else though. And as a result, it's a little bit lower in the list. I think he sings some other songs better than the absolutely brilliant Paradise by the Dashboard Light. However, if I was ranking them purely on song alone, it would certainly be at the top. For the same reason, at number 4, which I think may be the exact same position in the Jim Steinman list, is Dead Ringer. Half of that song and the joy and the delight of that song comes from the vocal done by Cher. And the whole thing comes together to give an absolutely great package as a whole. So Dead Ringer at number 4. At number 3, I've placed from the Bad Attitude album, Modern Girl. I've always liked this from the moment I first heard it on a Hits compilation, Hits 1 I think, and it sounds like a Jim Steinman song and it isn't. I think Modern Girl is comfortably his best song of the 1980s, and that does include the Jim Steinman stuff from Dead Ringer. Had he recorded Total Eclipse of the Heart and Making Love Out of Nothing at All for Midnight at the Lost and Found, as he wanted to, I think we'd be having a different list here. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Meat Loaf would have killed Total Eclipse of the Heart in 1983. But his best 80s song, Modern Girl, from 1984. And the last 2 tracks are both from Bad Outta Hell, and they bookend the album. It was a debate which one might come out top, but in the end, number 2 is For Crying Out Loud. Again, I didn't include this in my best Jim Steinman songs because it was probably number 16. But what makes the song and leaves you with the powerful impression at the end of the album is Meat Loaf's performance. This is another perfect marriage of the song and the performer. I can't imagine For Crying Out Loud by anybody else. It just works perfectly with Meat Loaf's voice, and it's my number 2. And at number 1 is Bad Outta Hell. For so many reasons. The vocal acrobatics in it, the fact that it is a perfect song, and it's just, again, the perfect marriage of one of the best songs ever written with one of the best singers ever. Again, I can't imagine anyone else singing Bad Outta Hell other than Meat Loaf. And that's possibly what sets my 1 and 2 apart from all of the rest of the list, is that someone else could have done the rest, but I don't think anyone else could have done For Crying Out Loud or Bad Outta Hell. So Meat Loaf, thank you for the music. Thank you for the years. Thank you for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and rest in peace. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell. I know I was intending this week to review The Boy Named If by Elvis Costello and the Imposters. I'm going to hold that back for another week. I haven't yet listened to it. Look out for that next week, along with my ranking of Elvis Costello albums. But until then, thanks for watching.